Other interesting cultural news, you have Light UFC Dustin Poirier tweet is mostly mocked. Now, thanks to the interweb, I know that this gentleman is part of the UFC. Now, I don't know. I don't know. I think the kids may call him a sellout. I've never seen a man wear a Bud Light hat in the past year. And he has again, Bud Light did some things right here, well, in terms of marketing. So I'm actually astonished because they usually mess up pretty bad. Now, going to the actual post, and this is on X Twitter, Bud Light said, quote, "You heard the UFC 299 champ. Welcome to the Bud Light family. Hashtag Dustin Poirier." Or maybe it's Porter, like the car porter. Probably not, but they did tag him properly. Which, again, when you look at the Bud Light social media team, I always joke that maybe the team is inebriated because they're drinking Bud Light, but because half the time they only tag the individual. Which, again, you're paying UFC $100 million. One would think you want to optimize that investment. Same with the NFL. That's another big partnership of theirs. And yet half the time they didn't tag the actual players in the post. Which, again, if you're spending all that money on marketing, one would think you'd want to do it right. Because, again, when you tag the person, then everyone who follows them sees it on their timeline. And you got to get a multiplier effect. Not just people who only watch or follow Bud Light see it. So, again, there's an overwhelming benefit to do it. That's why you always do. Now, in terms of views, they did a lot better than usual, which, again, is why they're paying the UFC about $100 million. They got 971,500 views in the first 24 hours last week. Now, it has the numbers and statistics had time to brew, pun rather than intended, but it got the worst ratio. Not as bad as Chris Christie, that's impossible. Unless, Chris Christie had no positive responses to some of his statements. I don't know if we could, if you can go beyond that by having more I digress. Another rabbit hole to go down sometime. It got 1.1 thousand likes, which, again, we'll do a little fun math here today. I mean, Lord knows they're not doing that in public schools, not all the time, but there's a reason they have 32-year low ACT scores, and yet the teachers unions say they deserve more money. Yeah. So we're going to do 1,100 divided by 971,500. 0.00113. However, we're going to turn that into a percentage point, multiply that by 100. That means of all the people who saw it, 0.113, or if we feel so inclined, we can just round. So 0.1% of the people who saw this liked it. Also known as terrible. And we have now contributed more than some public schools in the United States. Not all, but certainly some. Now, that is terrible to say the least. I mean, 1,100 likes. Now, not to brag, but I did get 5 likes on a video last week. And if you have 1/1000th of a second, feel free to give me a like. Or if you hate the video, give me a downvote and let me know in the comments. Now, again, this doesn't really compel me to buy the product. I'm actually surprised he's not wearing a Bud Light shirt and has a Bud Light tattoo on his neck. He is holding the iconic blue Bud Light can, has a Bud Light hat, and it looks like he has a vehicle filled up with cases of Bud Light. He looks again, he might be smiling. Or maybe his smile is just as awkward as Dylan Mulvaney's or Ron DeSantis or mine. That might be true. But he's standing by a vehicle, I think it might be a Jeep Gladiator, filled up with Bud Light.
Guys, after a big win at UFC 299, there's only one way to celebrate. Crack it open, a ice cold Bud Light. Cheers. Guys.
He looks like if Channing Tatum had a slow brother. There's a resemblance there. I don't know if maybe they're related. I'm not a fan of the UFC enough to know the lineage and correlation between some of the players. Maybe. But I'm actually surprised. Yeah, he has a non-branded sweater, because truly told, I don't know how many brands there are on being that. And looks like just good old blue jeans. Though, I'm actually surprised the blue jeans are not the iconic trademarked color of the Bud Light blue. But again, I haven't seen a ratio that bad in years. Almost 1 million views, and yet 1.1 thousand likes. That's almost impossible, statistically speaking. And they do have a lot of hidden comments. Now, the comments did pretty good. Well, not relative to the views, but relative for Bud Light. Usually they only get this many comments when they're giving away free beer to the 5 people who want free beer of Bud Light. Now, it looks like I got 356 comments. One of the first ones comes from Shop Beer Gear. They say, nice hat, which is cruel. Why are they lying to this gentleman? It says nice hat. It clearly isn't. They did get 13 likes, though. And Bud Light said, we knew you'd enjoy it. And they got 21 likes? Well, let's go to this Shop Beer Gear. Oh, interesting. So Shop Beer Gear is the, quote, official merch of Anheuser-Busch. Content sharing for 21 plus community guidelines. Oh, which is quite ironic or hypocritical because they hired Dylan Mulvaney for $185,000 to advertise beer to 15 years olds. A lot of people call that morally and mentally vacuous. I certainly do. So that's the official beer shop of them. So it's no wonder that they said something nice. Now, the first one that isn't someone who works at the company, basically, you have the Quartering saying, quote, hell yeah, the first trans UFC champ too, unquote, getting 36 likes. Yeah, this might be a little biased, but you have this little handsome gentleman known by the name of The Topping Show saying, quote, it's been nearly a year. How will the ratio look today? And I did accompany it with a GIF, or as youth might call it, a GIF, of a gentleman sitting holding a coffee cup and says, I'm just here for the ratio, LMFAO. That did get 5 likes. Which, not to brag, I did get 5 likes on my YouTube video last week as well. Interesting enough, I think someone responded to that. Let's see. I'm not seeing it. You also have Phil Pildesbury Boy saying, quote, LOL, desperately trying to get your customer base back, unquote. Getting 259 likes. You also have Juts saying, quote, nah, come on, Dustin, have a daughter, man, unquote, you have a daughter, man, unquote, getting 109 likes. Rolos Solus, unique name, says, quote, we're going to need a public statement guarantee that the trans stuff will never happen again, unquote, getting 81 likes, which will never happen for a myriad of reasons. They're publicly traded. They're owned by a lot of big investment firms that want to push certain narratives. And they would have even more of a they have even more boycott from the far left, as they have already also boycotted them for not, quote unquote, sticking with Bill Mulvaney. So they foolishly put themselves between a rock and a hard place. Let's see here. The middle ground says, quote, let's ask Brock Lesnar what he thinks of Bud Light. Let's play this really quick.
I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing. I'm gonna sit down with my friends and family, and hell, I might even get on top of my wife tonight. See you all later.
Huh. I did get 100 likes, though. By the way, he's phrasing it sounds like if you just give him money, he'll drink it. Scrolling down, you also have UFC Alien saying, quote, who's going to tell him, and got 20 likes. K-Roy Mash says, quote, paid in full, unquote, getting 33 likes. Slim Pickings, says, sell out, getting 53 likes. Lightning Rod Sickdick says, quote, Dustin will do anything for money, unquote, getting 20 likes. Dope Jars just say, this is a step in the right direction. Next, Bud Light should partner with Riley Gaines to defend women in sports, and I'd buy the product again, getting 30 likes, which, yeah, I think actually putting their money behind someone like her, that would give them a lot of, as youth might call it, street cred. And if they were actually to start funding some of the lawsuits to defend women in sports especially, I think that would get them a lot of sales. However, then you would also have people on the left, as this is devolved into a political issue, then they would boycott the company even more. Now, granted, I'm not sure how much beer they buy in general. They probably drink wine spritzers. I forgot, what do the white women drink? Oh yeah, White Claw, yeah, that viral thing. Do a couple more here. Let's see. Trevor simply said, I used to like Dustin, getting 3 likes. Mr. Wrangler says, quote, UFC 299 champ, face smack emoji, getting 12 likes. NFT enthusiast says, quote, didn't know Dustin Poirier was trans, unquote, getting 6 likes. Salt King says, well, I don't say A+ for marketing, but they actually have the little salt shaker in their name. I didn't know they even had that emoji. And he says, ain't no one drinking that garbage, unquote. Now, grammar aside, that is a double negative that actually grammatically means people are drinking it. I digress. That did get 7 likes. Let's see, we'll do one more. Pulse HQ simply said the UFC 299 champ. WTF does that even mean? Getting 7 likes. Juts simply says, dirty sellout, you have a daughter, bro, unquote, getting 21 likes. So as we scroll more and more, as the youth might say, got ratioed to say the least. I mean, it looks like the one positive thing was the first comment from the store of Anheuser-Busch for their actual apparel. And that was actually, looking back, that's the only one that Bud Light actually responded to as well. Which, again, they did respond to one. And I suppose one of the 13 likes that Shop Beer Gear got was from Bud Light. But, I mean, again, they're spending a lot of money on marketing. A lot. And yet, culturally speaking, they still seem to just be doing nothing. Their sales aren't moving. The needle's about the same. They're about losing about 30% of their sales for the Bud Light brand specifically. Then you look at Budweiser, it's around 12% down. Then Michelob Ultra is like 3.4 to 5% down. Now, granted, after April 1st, the sales will quote unquote normalize because you won't be comparing all the numbers you would be comparing them to the last fiscal period are the numbers affected by the Dylan Mulvaney boycott. So that's where maybe some people will they'll buy some shares of the company because they'll say, oh yeah, the sales are about the same as last year. Even though historically, long term, they are still down 30%. Again, framing is key, and you always want to kind of zoom out a little bit at that situation. So that's why I think some investors might increase their stake maybe in Q2 this year, which is, I was going to say, hours away. But let me know, have you known anyone in the past year who's bought a Bud Light? In public or private? I mean, there might be some peeps, maybe in the middle of the night when your friends might not see you, still go to the store and you buy a case and put on a mask and you just hope to God no one sees you. I mean, I don't know anyone, but if you do, let me know in the comments. It'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.